On January 31st, 2013, 21-year-old Canadian student Elisa Lam walked into the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles. No one knew it then, but this would be the last time anyone saw her alive. What followed was a chilling mystery that would capture the attention of the world, sparking endless theories, bizarre twists, and unanswered questions. Elisa's story began like any other, a young woman on a solo trip, exploring a city she'd never been to before. But by the time the world learned of her disappearance, the events surrounding her death would take on a life of their own. You won't believe the shocking truth hiding in plain sight. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear may just make you question everything you thought you knew. Before we dive into this shocking case, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and turn on notifications so you don't miss part 2 of this chilling story. Trust me, you'll want to hear how this unfolds. It was a cold day in Los Angeles when Elisa Lam checked into the Cecil Hotel, her home for the next few days. A vibrant, curious young woman, Elisa had been traveling alone through California, staying in various hostels. But this time, she'd chosen the Cecil, an infamous hotel with a dark and troubled past. Known for its history of violent incidents and tragic events, the Cecil Hotel wasn't just any hotel. It had become a staple in the darker corners of Los Angeles' haunted history. Its walls had seen suicides, murders, and mysterious disappearances. Little did Elisa know, she had walked into a place that would forever change her fate. January 31st. Just days after Elisa checked in, things took a strange turn. The last known footage of Elisa was captured on the hotel's elevator security cameras. The video is as eerie as it is puzzling. In it, Elisa can be seen pressing multiple elevator buttons, stepping in and out of the elevator, then hiding in the corner as though she's talking to someone, or something, that isn't there. She looks confused, terrified. Her hands twitch, her eyes dart around. She appears to be speaking to an unseen presence, her fingers tracing the air as if trying to reach out to someone or something in the darkness of the elevator. Was she in distress? Was it a mental health crisis? Or was there something or someone hiding in plain sight? The more you watch, the more unsettling it becomes. What was she trying to communicate, and why wasn't anyone there to help her? Days passed, and Elisa's absence grew more alarming. Hotel staff searched the premises, but they found nothing. Then, on February 19th, 2013, nearly 3 weeks later, something horrifying happened. Guests had been complaining about the water, strange, discolored, with a foul taste. It wasn't until maintenance workers went up to the roof that the shocking discovery was made. Elisa's body was found in one of the hotel's water tanks. She had drowned. But here's where the story takes a sharp twist. The hotel's water tanks were locked. The roof was only accessible by a secured door that could not be opened without a key. So how did Elisa get there? And why was her body found floating in a tank, naked and decomposed? Her belongings left behind. Here's where it gets even stranger. The water tanks Elisa was found in were not just any tanks. They were high up on the roof, in a building filled with people. How did she even get there without being seen? The locked doors, the high security, the lack of any forced entry. It doesn't add up. And then, the authorities said there were no signs of foul play, no bruises, no external wounds. But still, there were so many unanswered questions. Why would Elisa, a healthy young woman, drown in a water tank in a locked area? Was it really an accident? Or was something or someone else involved? Some have speculated that Elisa was experiencing a mental breakdown. She had a history of mental health struggles, including bipolar disorder, and her behavior in the elevator certainly seemed erratic. But others believe there was something more sinister at play. Could Elisa have been the victim of foul play? A targeted attack? Some theorists suggest that the hotel's dark past, its connection to serial killers, suicides, and strange deaths, had a role to play in Elisa's tragic end. Could someone have been waiting for her? Or did she fall victim to something much darker? Then there's the chilling connection to the hotel itself. The Cecil Hotel had been the home of notorious figures like Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, who stayed at the hotel during his killing spree. It had also seen other mysterious deaths, suicides, murders, disappearances. Could Elisa's death have been another piece of this horrific puzzle? Was it fate that led her to the Cecil? Or was there something or someone waiting for her there? Could someone have been waiting for her? Or did she fall victim to something much darker? As the world grapples with the unanswered questions surrounding Elisa Lam's death, one thing is clear: this is not just a tragic accident. There is something far darker hiding beneath the surface of the Cecil Hotel. And as we dive deeper into the investigation, we'll uncover more inconsistencies, more shocking twists. What really happened to Elisa Lam? Was she the victim of something far more sinister than anyone could imagine? The answers may be closer than we think. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll explore the strange clues that could reveal the truth, and the even more disturbing events that have followed in the wake of Elisa's death. Make sure you subscribe, like, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter in this chilling story. Until then, keep your eyes open and remember, sometimes the truth is darker than we can ever imagine.
Welcome back. If you haven't seen part 1 of Elisa Lam's story, pause now and go back to the beginning. What you're about to hear is more shocking, more disturbing, and more twisted than anything we've uncovered so far. In part 1, we discovered Elisa Lam's final moments, the strange elevator footage, her mysterious death in a water tank, and the shocking inconsistencies in the investigation. But now, things are about to get darker. Much darker. When the police initially investigated Elisa's death, they ruled it an accidental drowning, but as they dug deeper, the details didn't quite add up. The police report raised more questions than answers. There was no sign of forced entry to the roof where Elisa's body was found, and the water tank was locked. How could she have entered without assistance? There were no injuries on her body, no signs of struggle. Yet the hotel staff had claimed to have checked the roof during their search. Was Elisa's death truly an accident, or did something or someone manipulate the situation to cover up the truth? The footage from the elevator wasn't just strange, it was downright cryptic. Elisa's erratic behavior seemed as though she was trying to communicate something, but what? Her frantic gestures, the way she moved in and out of the elevator, seemed as though she was trying to avoid someone, or something. And then there's the moment when she peers out from the elevator staring at something or someone that's not visible to the camera. Was she communicating with an unseen force? Was she trying to escape an invisible predator? Or was her behavior the result of something much more terrifying than anyone could have imagined? To understand what might have happened to Elisa, we need to look at the place where it all unfolded, the Cecil Hotel, a place that was no stranger to tragedy, a place with a long, violent, and disturbing history. From the infamous Night Stalker Richard Ramirez, who terrorized Los Angeles during the 1980s while staying at the Cecil, to the mysterious deaths, suicides, and murders that plagued the hotel for decades, it seemed as though a dark shadow loomed over its walls. Could the hotel's troubled past have been connected to Elisa's death? Was she merely a victim of circumstance, or was something far darker at play? A curse, a malevolent force waiting to claim its next victim? Some believe Elisa was targeted. Perhaps there was a hidden agenda, a deeper conspiracy that led her to the Cecil Hotel in the first place. Could her erratic behavior have been caused by something other than mental illness? Something or someone manipulating her actions? Many believe Elisa was the victim of foul play, an attack that was cleverly disguised as an accident. But who would want to harm Elisa, and why? Was it a random act of violence, or was Elisa caught up in something much bigger than herself? Some even suggest Elisa's death might have been linked to a larger web of strange events at the hotel. Could she have stumbled upon something that someone desperately wanted to keep hidden? And here's where things get even more disturbing. Elisa Lam was not the first person to die in strange circumstances at the Cecil Hotel. Over the years, there were reports of unexplained suicides, murders, and disappearances, many of them still unsolved. But what if these deaths weren't just coincidental? What if the hotel was somehow involved? Could there be a sinister connection between Elisa's death and the series of strange events that had been unfolding for years? Some even suspect the hotel staff may have known more than they let on. Were they complicit in hiding the truth, or were they merely unaware of the dark forces at play? The hotel management's response to the investigation was curious. Despite the hotel's long history of strange events, They initially seemed to downplay the gravity of Elisa's disappearance. They were quick to call it an accident, dismissing any other possibility. But why the silence? Why did the staff fail to provide clear answers? Some have suggested that the management might have been complicit in hiding details from the public, perhaps to protect the hotel's reputation, or even worse, to shield someone involved in Elisa's tragic death. And now, as the investigation continues to unfold, there's one final clue that stands out: a cryptic message hidden in plain sight. In Elisa's belongings there was something strange, something that hasn't been fully explained. A notebook. Pages filled with bizarre notes, some of them scribbled hastily, others written with eerie calmness. What did she write in those final moments? And more importantly, what did it mean? What was Elisa trying to tell us? Is this the final piece of the puzzle, or is it just the beginning of an even darker mystery? Stay tuned for part 3, where we uncover the last chilling secrets of Elisa Lam's case. The truth may be even darker than we ever imagined. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next.
Welcome back to the chilling case of Elisa Lam. If you've been with us through the first 2 parts, you already know that Elisa's death remains one of the most haunting mysteries in true crime history. But now, in part 3, we'll uncover the last, most disturbing pieces of the puzzle. What you're about to hear may leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about this case. There's one more shocking twist, one final revelation that will haunt you. Before we dive in, make sure you're subscribed, hit that like button, and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss the final jaw-dropping twist that will change everything. Let's continue. When Elisa Lam's body was found in the hotel's water tank, investigators discovered something strange among her belongings: a notebook. It wasn't just any notebook, though. Elisa had written in it, pages filled with cryptic messages, random thoughts, and strange drawings. But there was one thing that stood out above all else. At first glance, the notes appeared random, perhaps the ramblings of someone experiencing a breakdown. But as investigators dug deeper, they found something more. Hidden in the notes were symbols that looked like they had been drawn intentionally, and they didn't make sense at first. Some of these symbols resembled ancient occult sigils. Others were unsettling patterns, almost like maps or coded language. Why did Elisa write these things? What was she trying to convey? And who or what was she trying to warn us about? As Elisa's case remained in the public eye, more people began to speak up. Hotel guests, former staff, even paranormal investigators. Everyone had a theory. And one of the most disturbing theories was that the Cecil Hotel wasn't just the scene of a tragic accident. Some believed the hotel was cursed, haunted by the spirits of its past. People who had stayed at the hotel reported strange occurrences, elevators opening and closing on their own, items disappearing and reappearing, and whispers in the hallways. Some claimed they could feel a strange energy in the hotel, as though the spirits of those who had died there were still present. But could Elisa Lam have experienced something supernatural that drove her to behave in such a bizarre way? Was she really speaking to someone or something invisible in that elevator footage? And was her death the result of a hidden force that still haunts the hotel to this day? We've all heard the rumors about the Cecil Hotel's dark history. But what if there's a hidden truth, one that no one is willing to confront? Some investigators believe Elisa's death was no accident, and that she may have uncovered a horrifying secret about the hotel. A secret so disturbing it might explain everything. Could it be that the hotel's violent past was more than just a coincidence? Some have suggested that Elisa may have stumbled upon something connected to the hotel's deepest, darkest corners. Could she have known something about the hotel's sinister activities? Was Elisa just another victim in a much larger web of mystery and crime? Perhaps Elisa was not an accidental victim, but a pawn in something far more dangerous, a conspiracy that no one wanted the world to know about. Let's return to the most disturbing evidence in this case, the elevator footage. When we first saw it, Elisa's erratic behavior seemed like the result of confusion or fear. But after further analysis, some experts began to ask a chilling question. Was Elisa deliberately being manipulated or led by someone, perhaps someone unseen? Some believe that Elisa's movements were not random at all. In fact, the way she steps in and out of the elevator, her gestures, her apparent attempts to hide from something or someone. What if all of this was part of a larger plan? Was Elisa being guided by someone, a person or force that was controlling her every move? If this theory is true, it suggests that Elisa was never in control of her actions at all. But if not Elisa, then who or what was behind her every step? Let's talk about the hotel itself. The Cecil Hotel is no stranger to controversy, but could it be more than just a tragic location? Could those who worked there, or those who owned the hotel, have known more than they let on? Did they allow these dark events to unfold because of the hotel's reputation? Or worse, was there something they didn't want the world to see? Staff members who had worked at the Cecil Hotel reported strange behavior from the guests and even from certain employees. Some former staff members went so far as to claim that there was a code of silence within the hotel. What if those who worked there were deliberately keeping quiet? And why? Now we come to the most chilling theory of all. What if Elisa Lam's death was not an isolated incident, but part of a larger, more disturbing pattern? A pattern that connects the Cecil Hotel to a series of strange disappearances, unsolved crimes, and unexplained deaths that go far beyond the hotel's history. Some believe Elisa's death was a warning for anyone who dared uncover the hotel's buried secrets. But if that's true, then what else could be hidden within those walls? What other dark forces are at play? And how many more victims have gone unnoticed? Was Elisa Lam the latest victim of a dark and ancient curse? Or was she an innocent caught in a web of secrets too terrible to comprehend? The answers may be more terrifying than you can imagine. We may never truly know what happened to Elisa Lam. But one thing is certain, her story is far from over. The truth is buried in the shadows, and there are still more mysteries to uncover. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more disturbing revelations, if you dare. Remember to subscribe to my channel, like the video, and remember to tell us what you feel about this story. We've come to the end of the story of Elisa Lam, a story that has gripped the world, leaving behind more questions than answers. For years, people have speculated, theorized, and debated what really happened in that hotel, but the truth remains elusive. After everything we've uncovered, one thing is certain. The case of Elisa Lam is far from simple. From the strange elevator footage, to the eerie discovery of her body in the water tank, to the theories of a dark curse haunting the Cecil Hotel, the pieces of this puzzle seem to fit together in a way that both fascinates and terrifies. But what is the real story? Was Elisa Lam just an unfortunate victim of a tragic accident? Or was she the target of something far more sinister? After everything we've explored, the truth is that we may never truly know what happened to Elisa Lam. The official cause of death was ruled as an accidental drowning, but there's a sense that something is missing from that explanation. Why was she in the water tank? How did she get there without being seen? And why does it feel like there's so much more to this story than what's been revealed? Could Elisa have been the victim of foul play? Or was she perhaps driven by something beyond her control? A breakdown? A hidden danger lurking within the walls of the Cecil Hotel? Theories abound, but there's one thing that stands out above all else: the inexplicable nature of her death. No matter how you look at it, this case is not just a tragedy, it's a mystery that defies logic. Some believe that Elisa was the victim of a malevolent force, a force linked to the hotel's dark past, with its connections to serial killers, suicides, and tragic deaths. Could she have stumbled upon something hidden, a secret that was never meant to be uncovered? Perhaps she was a casualty of the hotel's violent history, a pawn in something far larger than anyone can imagine. Others argue that Elisa's death was tied to her mental health struggles, that her behavior was the result of a breakdown, amplified by the pressure of traveling alone. But if that were the case, why does it feel like there's more to her story? More than just a tragic accident? Why does this case haunt us, even years after her death? Then there's the Cecil Hotel itself, its haunted past, filled with tales of despair, darkness, and death. From Richard Ramirez to the many others who met their untimely ends within those walls, the hotel's history cannot be ignored. Could Elisa's death have been another piece of a much larger puzzle? Was she another victim in a series of strange and unexplained events that have plagued this building for decades? Perhaps the Cecil Hotel was more than just a place where Elisa stayed. Maybe it was the catalyst, the place where everything spiraled out of control, a place where unseen forces thrive, feeding off the pain and tragedy of those who enter its doors. At the end of the day, we're left with one haunting question. Is the truth of Elisa Lam's death something we'll ever truly understand? With so many unanswered questions and so many inconsistencies, it's impossible to deny that this case will never be solved in the conventional sense. What happened to Elisa may never be fully explained. Some mysteries, no matter how hard we try, may never be unraveled. And yet, the story of Elisa Lam continues to captivate. The unanswered questions linger, the theories multiply, and the haunting images of that elevator footage stay with us, leaving a chilling imprint on the mind. While we may never know the full truth, Elisa Lam's story has become a symbol, a reminder of the fragility of life, and the darkness that can lie beneath the surface of the world we see. A story that, even in its mystery, continues to resonate with us all. Elisa Lam was a bright, adventurous young woman, a traveler with dreams of seeing the world, but her death has become a haunting reminder that sometimes, the places we least expect hold the darkest secrets. As we close this chapter on Elisa Lam, one question still echoes in the silence. What was Elisa trying to tell us? What was hidden in the pages of her notebook, in the erratic movements of her final moments? And most importantly, what truth did she uncover? A truth so disturbing, it led her to her tragic end. Pause for dramatic effect. Perhaps we'll never know. Or maybe, just maybe, there's still something out there waiting to be discovered. Thank you for joining us on this journey through one of the most unsettling cases in true crime history. If you found yourself haunted by the story of Elisa Lam, you're not alone. Her case continues to perplex and disturb us all, a chilling reminder that some mysteries may never be solved. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. The truth may be out there, but for now, it remains just beyond our reach.